Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Springboks have just beaten Scotland 15 points to 30, or 30 points to 15. A very impressive performance from the world champions, who started a little bit slowly, but as the game sort of grew on, sort of grew into the game, and still maybe not the most sort of polished performance. I think, impressive in terms of being able to get the job done despite not necessarily playing particularly well, but some very nice moments. And the Springboks definitely trying to keep the ball in hand a little bit more, trying to be a lot more positive, trying to sort of not necessarily take points on offer, trying to score tries and trying to sort of mount up a decent scoreline, which they've been criticised of not doing in the past. But Scotland, as soon as the game got a little bit open, definitely had their chances. But I think at the end of the day, just couldn't keep up the momentum for 80 minutes. Before we break down the game, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. In terms of the game, it started off pretty well. I mean, the Springboks pretty much just camped inside the Scottish half for about the first 20 minutes, but couldn't get any points from it. I think we turned down about 4 kickable opportunities, inside their own half, but Sirklees kept saying, no, let's go for the line, and a couple of missed lineouts and not being able to, as I said, not being able to execute accurately enough to get the points on offer. Scotland, on the other hand, took their opportunities. The first time they got into the Springboks half, through a counter-attack from Duran van der Merwe, they won a penalty and immediately went for the poles, and Finn Russell slotted it. Had Finn Russell kicked a lot better, this game would have been a lot closer, because I think he left about 8 or 9 points out there, which is pretty poor from an international fly half. But eventually the Boks did decide to start taking points. Alton Yankee slotted his first penalty in the 23rd minute. And after a pretty sloppy passage of play, a really nice turnover from Lekanya and very sort of openness in the game, saw a very quick sort of delivery from Herschel Yankees from the base of the ruck, who I thought struggled today, but on that occasion, it was nice and quick. We got the ball out wide, and it was just really good. It was just good hands. Draw and pass from Damien Delindi, draw and pass from Siya Kolisi. Makazole Mapimpi had all the pace in the world to get over and score in the 28th minute. However, Scotland would respond with a try of their own in the 35th minute, and Finn Russell with the conversion as well to make it 10 points to 8 at half time. But South Africa definitely not out of it, just couldn't really get reward for the efforts and for the possession and for the territory that they had. In the second half, things started to sort of shift quite a lot, and I thought there were a couple of very impressive performances. I thought Jesse Creel grew into the game a lot more. Vili and Alton Yankees took more control in the second half. And immediately we started to sort of see a little bit of a shift in momentum. A fantastic try scored by Makazole Mapimpi. I mean, it was a decent kick. He managed to turn over the ball, and then we ran the hands. Vili joining the line, throwing a long pass out to Alton Yankees, who threw a nice pass in front of Damien Delindi, which allowed him to get past his man. Another pass out to Makazole Mapimpi, no issues. Alton Yankees slotted in a decent conversion as well. And then after that, it was a case of every time we got into the Scottish half, we'd find penalties, slot the penalty. Find a penalty, slot the penalty. And Alton Yankees sort of kicked us into a very decent lead. And we looked pretty comfortable until all of a sudden, another try of Scotland in the 58th minute. Very, very well worked. And should have probably been sorted out. But it was a very nice move, especially Duran van der Merwe doing very, very well in that whole move to sort of keep the ball alive. So sort of all of a sudden, but then Finn Russell missing the kick, which sort of kept things a little bit more on the side of the Springboks. But after that, 3 penalties in the last sort of 12 minutes really put the game to bed. Andre Pollard missed his first attempt, a pretty poor attempt. A little bit worried about Andre Pollard, must be said. His first contribution was to be caught on the ball and concede the penalty right on the 5-meter line. Thankfully, Frank Master managing to turn over the ball. But missed that attempt through a really poor pass. Just doesn't look like a player playing with a lot of confidence, and a very big call to make at fly half for England next weekend. France staying with the penalty goal in the 70th minute, and Andre Pollard getting another one in the 77th minute. Stats-wise, the Springboks dominated most of the stats. 56% possession. They had more territory. They beat more defenders. They had more clean breaks. Defensively, it wasn't the Boks' best game. They missed 24 tackles, which is quite a lot, but the Springbok system lends itself to missing a lot of tackles. It's all about putting the other players off. And I think the thing that the Springboks did very well is to take Finn Russell out the game. A couple of big hits, a lot of pressure on him. And Finn Russell, because his forwards and his backline weren't really getting over the advantage line, couldn't really affect the game much. At the breakdown, the Boks were far superior. They won 9 turnovers at the breakdown. Very, very impressive stuff there. Malcolm Moss coming on and making a big difference. Scrums, as usual, were titanic for the Springboks. They won all the scrums. A lot of dominance there. And then discipline-wise, look, 9 penalties conceded compared to 15. So there will be a lot of talk about Angus Gardner in the sort of last 10 minutes of the first half. But overall, I don't think it was actually too bad. I think the try for Scotland, that first try, I would like to have had a look at the forward pass there. But apart from that, I don't think there's too much we can really argue with. Big performances I thought came from Eben Etzebeth, who was outstanding. I thought Siya Kolisi was very solid once again, didn't miss a single tackle. Kwagga Smith was very, very apparent everywhere around there, putting a lot of pressure. I thought Jesse Creel had a much better game. I thought Herschel Jantjies and Willie Leroux struggled quite a lot in the first half. The former got replaced, the latter grew into the game. But again, I thought pretty decent performances from the starting front row. Dwayne Vermeulen was a bit quiet, but pretty solid. I thought Alton Jantjies was pretty solid as well. And Lakanya Am and Damien Dealendi were doing what Lakanya Am and Dealendi do. And then obviously the bomb squad off the bench were very, very big. Although I thought Vincent Koch, I thought was a little bit poor. Conceded quite a few penalties and discipline was letting him down a little bit. But let me know what you thought of the game down in the comments below. Smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. It's 2 out of 2 for the Boks. Can they go to Twickenham next week and make it 3 out of 3? It'll be a huge ask for them to do that, but let's see what can happen. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen, and I'll chat to you soon.